then after we get to, say, Wednesday, we've done the little exit ticket. And when I say little, I mean little. I am going to pull like maybe 2 to 3 questions. I want it to take them 5 minutes, and I literally time this. I do. The students have 5 minutes to complete my exit ticket. And if they don't finish in 5 minutes, I tell them it's okay. All of these assessments are about giving me information so that we know what you need and how to move forward as we move forward. Okay. So we do the exit ticket, the 5 minutes. I collect those exit tickets and then I grade them based on what I see. That is how I determine what those groups, those differentiated groups, are going to look like the next day. It is also how I decide which activities are appropriate. So at the very beginning, I would have said, oh, I think activity 1, activity 2, activity 3. So for example, I might say, oh, I think it would be really useful with this content to do a scavenger hunt, right? Or I might say, no, maybe for this activity, for this content, it would work really well for them to be in small groups and for them to do like a heads together, or maybe where they create some sort of end product, and then we'll do a carousel, right? Or I might say, no, what might really work well is that we do a station rotation. So I will put them in particular partner groups, and I'll be very strategic about those partner groups for the most part. There's a reason I put this person with that person, etc. And then they'll have a certain amount of time at each station, right? That's a station rotation, and they will work in tandem. They can work independently and then share their answer with their colleague or their peer, or they could work it together. But they have a certain amount of time. They know they have a certain amount of time. So when they get to each station, it's about business. Okay. So I basically need to think through several ways that we can change the practice from just sitting and doing a worksheet into something that is, remember we said it needs to be social. There needs to be some sort of social interaction because social learning is engaging, okay? All right, so we're going to target who they're with as they're having this social interaction, but it is a targeted learning social experience that is happening. All right, so Wednesday, I will be able to tell who is ready for an independent version of that social interaction and who needs some more specific support. All right. And so what we talked about last week when I said, hey, I may have some individuals that are already good to go, they're working and they're moving, they might be doing the station rotation, they are doing that independent of me. Okay. All right. But I knew that they were ready for that based on our interactions in class, based on the homework that I sent home, and the homework is a whole nother discussion as well, because all of this is feedback. All of this is feedback. Homework has to be checked daily in order for you to get that feedback, okay? So I've been looking at that, listening to how you respond in class to the questioning, how you interact with the guided practice throughout the week, and then when we get the exit ticket, that is the final. Okay, I know what this child can do independent of me. And so now I have a really great understanding of the types of support that they need. They might not think, I have a question. This is my question. They might not think that. But when you look at their work, the questions that you specifically chose, remember it's going to be very intentional because you're only choosing 2 to 3 questions, no more than 5 for sure, questions that they can complete within 5 minutes. It's very intentional, the questions that you ask. I can tell all along the way what part of this process you are having trouble with. And so now when I get into Thursday, I am going to be providing targeted instruction. targeted instruction is engaging. Why? Because exactly what you need is what I'm giving you. Okay, so Thursday, they're going to their different activities. It's a slow release. Remember, I said last week, even for the students who are working with me directly, the goal is to get them to the activity working independently. All right, because there's a level of confidence that you want the students to have with the material before you get to Friday, right? So now, on Thursday, we will start that activity. Some of the individuals who were working with you are not going to be able to actually, they're not going to necessarily be able to do the entire activity by Friday because they were working with you and you were moving at the pace that works for them, okay? And that's what we want. We want you to continue to do that. So I never, ever, ever make the activity due on the day that we started. Never. And that is to give individuals an opportunity to be able to work it on Friday. So Friday is when I will then go into even more targeted instruction, and this will be based off of the homework. I basically am going to answer some questions. I'm going to go back and make sure that like let's say that we saw that there were some misconceptions that didn't get cleared up from the instruction earlier in the week. I will then go back and pull those people. Now, it's very important how you set that up because it'll give kids the feeling that it's, I'm the dumb one. I needed the extra help. And so I like to call that small group support, right? So I will say, so-and-so, 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 bring your notes over to, and we have like a section in the room where we do targeted support, all right? And the cool thing, and what really helps kids buy into this is I will intentionally call on some of the kids that, the class thinks they're smart. I will intentionally call them first to come and get that instruction because I know they're a little bit more resilient to that. And they're also, I can kind of get through what I'm talking to them about a lot quicker because their misconception is usually very small and it's just a slight adjustment. So I will do that. And then there might be some others that get called in that group. Well, when they see the quote unquote smart kid is in there, they're like, oh, they have the same questions I have. And it kind of gives some validation to the fact that there are no smart kids, there are no dumb kids. There are just individuals who understand at this point, or there are kids or individuals who have questions. And if you have questions, it makes sense. Get your question answered, right? All right, and so that's what we'll do. And so I am in small group instruction the entire time. The rest of the class has been set up, and they have independent work goals for the week that we set up. And again, if you want to kind of get into how do we do that, I'm going to tell you automation is amazing. So you do need some programming, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I can talk to you. And that independent work is based on the needs the targeted needs that I assessed at the very beginning of the year. So all of these assessments that we do at the very beginning to get like a benchmark as to where each student is and where your class is and where their strengths and weaknesses are, you're going to use that data to help you with providing or creating kind of like an independent plan. And again, you're going to use some of these automated resources so you're not having to grade all of that extra, but you can hold them accountable to growing in areas that they have specific weaknesses in. So while I'm working with the targeted groups, the further targeted groups, they're finishing that up. And then guess what? If students have managed their time well throughout the week, they get free time. And free time is not like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever and be crazy and distract and disturb. I set down ground rules. But in essence, the students get to decide, will they have a 4-day work week or not? And what it does is not only does it like motivate the students, but it also provides an opportunity for students to interact with their classmates, and it helps you with building community within the class. All right, so that's a whole nother topic. Again, we can talk about that later on. If you're interested, drop it in the comments. I'm looking at those comments, and I will we'll talk about it. I'll bring people in if we need to, so that we can get an understanding, and we can make our classrooms high frequency learning pods where the kids come in and they're so excited about the experiences that we're getting ready to provide for them, and that we do provide for them, that they are in anticipation mode once they cross your threshold of your door. They just know something amazing is going to happen today, something amazing is going to happen this week in this class, and I don't want to miss a moment of it.